The views and opinions expressed by the Open Ranks podcast are that of the hosts and do not reflect the official policy or authority of the military. The content provided by the Open Ranks podcast is not intended to disrespect or offend any of our fellow service members, past or present, nor is it our intent to disrespect or offend any gender, race, religion, or sexual orientation. Please enjoy. All right, welcome to Open Ranks. I'm your host here, joined by Caitlin Postel, Khalil Wright, Walter Cooper. This is going to be like our inaugural episode, starting things off. It's been a long time trying to get you gentlemen to sit here together. It's been a long time since we've had a podcast of this nature, I think, available on the market. I searched and searched. I couldn't really find anything where you were able to hear what the brown people in uniform have to say. I think patriotism has like a one-dimensional image, typically something like Steve Rogers. And I think we're trying to get away from that as facts are the facts. If I tell you World War II, you're going to think of Steve Rogers.
I hate Captain America. That's what
I know. I know. This is a shot for him and not helping us in civil rights. Either way. So I want to start things off with everyone getting a chance to introduce themselves and give this thing some direction. So let's go name, hometown, and why you joined the military. Start with Caleb.
Kalen Postel, from Horn Lake, Mississippi, small town, 5 minutes from Memphis, Tennessee, by way of Fort Benning, Georgia. Why did I join the military? I've always been used to keeping some money in my pocket. So to make a long story short, the way that classes were set up in high school, I chose to play sports instead of taking certain core classes that was needed to have prerequisites towards a college education, without having to take remedial classes. So for me to go to a college, I was going to have to stay at school, longer than most seniors was, take summer school. All of that wasn't about to happen my senior year. So I think I joined the DEP program in like January. And yeah, it was just, I like working. I like keeping some money in my pocket. That was the easiest opportunity for me to do both of those things at, a young age without staying around the hood and getting in some shit. So here I am almost 8 years later.
8 years, a long time. What you got, Coop?
Well, Coop, from Louisville, Kentucky. I joined the Air Force because I was pretty much not doing shit. Mom gave me an ultimatum. She was like, either gonna join the Air Force, go to college, or get out the crib. So I wasn't really working or in a position where I could afford to live on my own. I had 2 jobs, but it just wasn't enough. So I had to think about my interests. Like, all right, what do I like? What am I good at? My job, I was working in a car dealership. I was a mechanic. And my dad, he worked at the airport, and I take a lot of advice and look up to my pops. It's my hero. So, I was always carrying holding a flashlight in the garage with him. So it was like, all right, it's pretty much in my blood. And him working at the airport, I had a general like knack for airplanes. You feel me? Aviation was big to me. So I decided, all right, I'm putting all of these things together. End up coming up with joining the Air Force and being an aircraft mechanic. So that's what I do now. Really excited to get to a point where we can discuss some of the experiences that I've had and go from there.
For sure. And then Khalil, you were in the military, got out, but all the same, name, hometown, and kind of what led you to joining in the first place.
For sure. So my name Khalil Wright by way of Horn Lake, Mississippi. I was originally born in Fort Hood, Texas. So my parents were prior service. So just to, lead off with that, as far as what led me to get into the service, the fact that my parents were in the service, that was something that had already, drawn interest. And just to add on to that, the fact that when I was a senior in high school, I was kind of in a situation where I felt like college wasn't not something that I could do, but I felt like it wasn't my best decision. Because basically my older sister, she had just went into college and my parents were already paying for her way through. So I felt like it wouldn't be fair to my parents to have them double up, paying so much for me and my sister when ultimately I didn't feel like it would be worth it. So it got to a point where, I was looking for a different option, what I wanted to do when I got out of school, because, I was pretty set that I wasn't, trying to go to college. And one day I just stumbled into a recruiting office. I was actually dropping my homeboy off. He was going to see his recruiter. And, I walked in just trying to use a restroom. And on my way out, the recruiter stopped me. He was like, "Hey, man, you know what? What are your plans?" Yeah, hook,
Yeah, as
line,
soon
and
as you went in there, you already knew that
oh
was
yeah,
going to be a wrap.
yeah. He
Your
knew
ass
before I
out.
knew, and I should have known. But for sure, he hit me up. He was like, "Hey, man, what are you doing after school?" I was like, "I don't know. I might join the military. That's something I might do." He was like, "Have you taken an ASVAB?" Sure haven't. You want to take a practice ASVAB? Why not? Took a practice ASVAB, didn't take it too serious. Really, I was just trying to get on about the building because at that point I was already in there way longer than I was trying to. Initially, I think my score wasn't even good enough to get into the service. So, that just lets you know that I really wasn't taking that too seriously.
Not even the Army?
No, not even Army. I scored a 26 on the
Jeez.
practice ASVAB, a 26.
Oh my goodness.
For sure. But that was just me trying
You should have went to the bathroom at whatever was next
to
door
move
to
out
the
of there.
recruiter's
I mean,
office.
about a week later, I came back, took the actual ASVAB test, scored a 76. So from there, it was just a matter of, looking at jobs. And I would say one thing about me going into the military, specifically the Army, if I had taken my time more and, really went through the process of figuring out what jobs I can get, what my score was good enough to get me, you know what I mean? Things of that sort. I probably wouldn't have been in the Army, but nonetheless, that was my story on how I got to where I was.
Let me ask you a question. Did you have any outside counsel against or telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing as far as joining whatever service?
Honestly, at the time, aside from, I would say no, really, because it was all so it all happened so fast. Like I honestly don't even remember like coming to you and telling you, "Hey, I'm thinking about joining the military." It was more so, "Hey, I just joined the Army. I swear out, I swear in a couple months, but I've already done the first swearing." It was really
I don't
like
remember. I was just asking. I feel like if you had a chance to pick and I didn't try to sway you my way,
for
I
sure,
feel
and
like I
that's
ain't.
why I say like for me it was more so like I just went in a recruiter's office and then I came out like pretty much in the Army.
I think we never mentioned that me and you were brothers
Right.
either.
I was
So
about to say,
it might
before we
add a
go
little
any
bit of
further,
Yeah, that add a little
yeah,
bit of context. That's my younger brother. We grew up together.
yeah, Caleb and Khalil are siblings for all the listeners out there.
For sure.
You'll hear it later. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, it won't be
mention
hard
that
to
comes
tell
from
in a
that.
little bit once we get
Sure,
started.
sure. As time goes on. My name, Henry Paul III. I'm originally from West Palm Beach, Florida, about an hour outside of Miami. Pretty much probably a similar situation to Coop was kind of giving that ultimatum, like it's school, the military, or get out. Then obviously, I think the transition on how important college is versus the cost was kind of beginning. Maybe with our graduating class, people was really starting to ask them questions like, is this worthwhile or not? So just looking at the cost, looking at like where my grade point average was versus where it should have been from like a lack of application, not necessarily like a willingness to participate in school. It was just best for me to go ahead and go into the Air Force. So my pops and I drove down to the recruiter office. We sat down. We looked at all the options. It was like, for him, it was Air Force or nothing. So that we didn't even touch any of the other branches. It was Air Force or nothing. And then we went in there. We looked at the job spread, and we told him like, I need a job that I can do on the outside and it's not labor intensive on the inside. And I gotta have time to go to school. And that's all I'm here for. So went through the whole MEPS process like everybody does. I think crew chief came up first, turned that down. Something else came up, turned that down. Like I was in the joint. Like I think I started MEPS in my junior year. It was in the delayed entry program. Like you got like
Yeah,
that
the depth.
extended amount of
Yeah, the
time,
depth.
and so turned down a few. NDI came back. That was my first choice anyway, and then that was pretty much it. So I came in just to get a trade and then to go to school, and still here. But we'll see how much longer that lasts.
Yeah.
Uh,
It definitely
speaking of
was
still
Air
being here,
Force or none.
Yeah, for sure.
At least when my folks found out that I wanted to go, they was real heavy on that. I don't know what happened with my dog, but
Yeah,
my pops was not for anything else except maybe the Navy, and I wasn't going for that.
Navy was a close second. I think Navy is a close second for a lot of people that are actually in the Air Force. But nonetheless, I think well, three of us, three out
None
of
of
the
yeah,
four of us are grateful
none
where we're
against
at.
nobody, man.
For
You
sure.
happy where you at, you happy where you at.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is what it is.
yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Um, 8 years in for Pastel, what is it that you've been doing?
It'll be 8 years in June.
Okay.
So air transportation, I'm a logistics troop. So basically, any and everything that has to do with loading aircrafts, from receiving a cargo, palletizing a cargo, loading it up, and all the paperwork that's in between, as well as doing the same thing for passengers, mostly like troops when they're actually going down range, and we also have services for just regular like free flights if you can get on one. Um, yeah, I've been doing that the entire time. My last station where I met all you guys at Joint Base Charleston, South Carolina, and I've been here in Royal Air Force Base Mildenhall, England for it'll be 4 years when I leave here in June. So split half of my career in each of these places, but I've been doing the same job. Off and on doing additional duties in between, but my core of what I do is load airplanes. I don't get to fly with them like the load masters, like everybody thinks.
What is one thing about your job that you really, really like that most people have no idea about? And what's one thing about your job that people really underappreciate or take for granted?
You said one thing that I like that people don't know
Don't,
about.
yeah, one thing about your job that's kind of unique that people don't know about.
Uh, I mean, I don't hate my job. I don't dislike it. But I can't say there's one aspect of my job I like really love.
Hmm.
I mean, I enjoy. I'm a people person in a certain extent. I can mesh with anybody and I can talk to anybody and I have
Hmm.
skills that make me able to talk to a bunch of different people. So when you working like the passenger terminal or something like that, or even when you're working with customers coming in and bringing their cargo that needs to be shipped out, I enjoy that part of the job. But anything other than that, I don't hate. And then what was the second question?
Second question was something that's like underappreciated. Like if you said, I work this particular AFSC and somebody says, y'all don't
Oh,
be doing
so
nothing.
all right, so yeah, our don't nothing get anywhere. I would say the Air Force and even a step further, DoD wide without two T2s. We're the ones who are shipping. We're the ones who are loading and shipping the cargo. If there's nobody else to do that job except us. So whether it be going stateside to stateside or stateside to downrange, stateside to where I'm at, which is like a refueler base, so an en route station. We receive and depart all of this cargo and all these passengers. So everything that you've received or anytime that you've gone out to a deployment or anything like that in between, that came to us hand in hand with TMO. But we do the bulk of the labor, in my opinion, as far as actually getting the stuff where it needs to be any and every time it needs to go. So 24/7, we always on call and ready to go.
Yeah, for sure. 'Cause I think obviously we all work different jobs, have been around people with different jobs, but the longer you stay in this business, the easier it is to kind of get pigeonholed into what it is that you're doing and formulate opinions about what's
Definitely.
easy, what's hard, so on and so forth. So like you get the opportunity to cross paths with people working back shop. I only cross paths with Coop. That was the person I would see if I went to the hangar. I went to Will and Tire. We don't really see nobody like that. I
Yeah.
thought you was gonna bring up something that we didn't take advantage of in Charleston. We did not make use of the access that y'all had to all those hops.
I
So I
mean,
know when
yeah,
I used to talk to Q, like he'd be like, "Yeah, we can pull up the spread and we can know where we're going like a week to
yeah.
2 weeks in advance."
That's if
We
you
never
want to take
even did
advantage of
that.
that. Like me
For sure.
personally, I'm not a big traveler, so I
Right.
can't say that's something that just really appealed to me. Like it's cool, me. Like if y'all want to go somewhere and want to do something,
Right.
like let me know and I'll be there. But if you waiting on me to plan it or suggest it, we'll be all
Sure.
sitting at the house the rest of our lives if it's up to
Yeah.
me.
Because they be talking about that all the time. Like Aaron be like, what's one of the dopest things? And some of the other instructors, we'll get to what I'm doing later. They'll be like, oh, if you go to this base, you'll have hops and you'll have access to
Yeah.
aircraft that are going to different places. And I'll be sitting there like, oh, we blew it. You know what I'm saying? Like, really,
yeah, we definitely
had
could
access,
have.
we blew it.
Yeah, I especially when I was over there, I see everything,
Right.
months or weeks in advance, and all you got to do is get your leaves scheduled, and you can go wherever you want for free if we got room for you.
Right. Cool. Holla at us. You over there turning wrenches.
Literally. Pretty cool though. I'm a crew chief basically, so it's a lot of different aspects to it. I personally work back shop for the majority of my career, so that means I work in a hangar and do more in-depth inspections and major discrepancies. It's where we fix those things. So those guys on the line had a little bit more opportunity to deploy and kind of see the world and stuff, whereas I pretty much stuck, which is cool. I think I learned a whole lot more being in back shop versus being on the flight line. It's just different. Like, so basically what we used to do, we pretty much break the plane and inspect it and make sure there was no major cracks. And if there was, we would call Henry out and he would do his thing as an NDI, make sure it was good to go, or let us know if it's bad, and then we call necessary
So when
people.
we break the planes, y'all fix the planes, and then he would check see if they were done right.
Nah, he would check to make sure that or to let us know whether or not it's a severe crack or if it's a crack there or not. We would be skeptical, but we would call him for
Right.
this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll get into that as well. But yeah, we pretty much just made sure the plane was good. We break it and put it all back together and call it good, put our name and stamp on it, and send it back out to the line where those guys would coordinate with guys like Kalen and load the jet up or whatnot, whether it's cargo or personnel, and see it on its way. So I think it was pretty cool for me though. If I was on the flight line, I wouldn't have got nearly as much knowledge as I did about the plane. I think that's cool. We all came from the same base and got to work on the same plane. We all worked on the C-17, so
Yeah.
I know Caleb had the opportunity to work with other aircraft when they come, as well as in a full setting. Whereas me as a crew chief, I would too. Pretty much got the gist of how the military works with aircraft and stuff like that. So it was kind of interchangeable on certain things. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Is what I do. You have some other questions?
No, that was pretty much it. But since your main career field hasn't changed from crew chiefing, you have had a location change in which your crew chiefing has now been in the elevated status. So I don't know how much you can share, but as time has passed, where are you now currently, and where has crew chiefing taken you?
All right, so 7 years, right? 7 years, 6 of it, pretty much in Charleston. C-17 solely. I can't really get into what it is that I do now. I can give you a location, and if you're smart, savvy, or whatever, aircraft savvy, you might be able to put 2 and 2 together. I work at Andrews, which is outside of D.C. in Maryland. So,
for sure. One of those, if you know, you know.
Cause he say he on his Men in Black.
Right. If you know, you know. But my man's is in a good place. Now, Khalil, when you went through basic training, what was the AFSC that you, or it's not even an AFSC in the Army?
MOS.
MOS.
Yeah, that you were going to fulfill.
So I was a 25 Quebec, the long-term multi-transmission systems operator maintainer. To shorten that up, pretty much. A glorified cable company for the military, So
no, ain't no way in hell.
For sure.
I mean, shit, you ask me, I work at FedEx.
Sure.
To sum it up, definitely glorified cable company in the sense that so there's a big piece of equipment that we work with called an STT, Satellite Tactical Terminal. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. And basically what a 25 Quebec is in charge of is getting this piece of equipment up, and it has a satellite on it. So, this shouldn't come as a surprise. But the military works on private servers, private networks, not servers that the civilian or public can get access to.
It's not Comcast.
Yeah, exactly. It's not Comcast. Might as well be Comcast, but it's not Comcast.
It ain't the security they try to act like it is.
Yeah,
of course.
Of course. But we're not gonna get into ComSec.
I done pulled some shit.
For sure. We're not gonna get into ComSec though. So basically, we're in charge of making sure the satellite reaches the satellite that is in space. So the proper signal can be shot on a private network. So your your brigade level can speak brigade level and up. It starts at brigade. So your brigade, your whole like post, whatever command teams need to speak at a higher level on a private network, that's what we're in charge of setting up.
I think that might be the group for us, like the group speaking like on the SIPRnet.
Sipper and Nipper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, that's dope. Both of those came out real hard and was kind of just sounded funny, Sipper and Nipper.
Yeah.
Nah, that's dope. My job was non-destructive inspection. I said NDI before, so basically worked hand in hand with Coop in regards to like they go out and assess the aircraft as it came down from different missions and stuff that it was on, and they'd be like, this scratch, I don't know how deep this joint is, or this dent, I don't know how deep this joint is, or when they would like do things like run the hangar doors into the sides of the aircraft because they ain't had nothing else to do on a Saturday.
Was a
you know what I'm saying?
Week.
Stuff like that. When things like that happen, we have to be called to be sure that it's like a scratch and not a crack. Because if it's a crack, then that means there's a bunch of repairs that have to be done, parts have to be replaced. So we use things like X-rays, ultrasounds, and a couple of other different scientific methods to like just assess structural integrity. So I did that for like 5 years in Charleston, and then I applied to be an instructor down at NAS Pensacola Naval Air Station, where our tech school is. So now I teach all the new individuals into the career field about what the job is prior to them to go into their first duty station. And I'll be here for another 2 years. So job is fantastic. I enjoy interacting with a bunch of different people equally as much as Gotti does or Pastel does. I'll call him Gotti probably for the rest of the show. But you didn't get a chance to when you're working in the back shop. All you do is talk the parts and sing songs to parts because nobody's really coming in and out of there. So I like this a lot better, being able to interact with people for sure.
Sure.
Let's take it all the way back though. All the way back. We assess where we are now currently, 7 years later. But all the way back to night one, day one. Coop, give me your best and worst things about basic training.
Shit, basic training was lit to me.
Oh,
for real.
I ain't had no issues with it. I know Khalil probably got some stories, but
sure.
I ain't gonna say it was a breeze. But for me it was. But I can't speak for everybody. Night one, yeah, of course you don't know what you're walking into. If I can think about how I felt that day, I was like, what the hell did I just do? Like,
yeah,
it was different, right? First day I get on a bus and we driving on base from the airport, and my MPI right there, waiting, military instructor, training instructor. So like, as soon as the bus stopped, like, dude opened the door and she yelling already. She on it. So, and she was a black woman too. And I ain't gonna lie, I thought he was fine.
That shit was cutting deep.
I ain't gonna lie, I thought he was fine too. She had me feeling some type of way. And I get to that here in just a second. But yeah, as soon as we got out the bus, she was on it, and I was like, oh shit. She's like, get over there, yelling, doing her thing and whatnot. She had people really trembling. It's different when you get yelled at by a black woman versus somebody else. It's
literally anybody.
It's a little different.
Literally anybody. I'll take anybody else.
Yeah, it's just different. So I guess initially I felt like, what did I just get into? But once it started going through the weeks or whatever, start getting in our zone, our schedules and habits and whatnot, it came out being pretty good. I know some people out there hating on me right now because I was on the laundry crew. So we pretty much just got to leave and go do laundry. I mean, it sucked, but not really, because I wasn't in nobody's face. No MPI. Right. It was me and like two other people, and we was just handling that. We was gone all day.
You was watching 50 men's pairs of drawers.
Whitey tighties at that.
tough, bro.
With the
You could see
stains.
Specific.
shit I
With
would
the
see.
stains.
It was nasty. I ain't gonna lie to you. But we made it work. It beats being in the dorm room getting yelled at by the MTI all day. You know? So like,
Sure.
Shit.
I'm good with that. But yeah, I didn't have no issues with basic though. I had fun. After we got into the groove of things, yeah, it was more like, I don't know, it was fun to me. Like I said, I didn't get yelled at, so, and that's why I say I think she had a little thing for me. But I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna say no names and that. But she ain't yelling at me. Like even if she was addressing me, she wasn't yelling. So, I don't know. But everybody else, she had people in there crying. Man, it was funny.
That's
You
tough.
grown
Something to
men,
see.
bro.
Something to
tough.
see. Gotti, I'm gonna let you go. Well, not last. I'm gonna go last, but I want to hear from Khalil right in the middle of this, so we can paint that picture and have that comparison between how the Air Force sounds versus the Army. I don't want him to go last on this one. Go ahead, Khalil. What was basic like for you?
For me,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'll start with the day of me going to basic, because that in itself had some milestones. That was the first time I ever got on a plane. First time I really just traveled, like traveled. Aside from like, oh, we're gonna go from Mississippi to, St. Louis to go to Six Flags or something. You know what I mean? Like that was the first time I actually went somewhere else. So that was pretty cool. I actually talk about that for a second, because the very first time I got on a plane, I had never been given any advice as far as like how the experience may go, as far as like ear popping and things of that sort.
Oh,
So first time on the plane, I've got my earphones in and they're just blaring as loud as they could, whatever. We get on the plane and everything's cool. Everything's cool. I'm not tripping. I end up dozing off, taking a nap, right? Before we get off. So I wake up and it literally felt like my ears, like deep in my ear, the deepest part of my ear, like it was the worst pain I had ever felt in my life, right?
Mhm.
And it was a connected flight. So my first flight landed in Georgia, and then I went from Georgia to South Carolina. So as soon as I get off the plane in Georgia, I'm freaking out. I'm like, yo, I got another flight I have to get on. Like, I have to go through this again. Like my head's gonna pop off. You know what I mean? Like
right.
straight up. So went on the next flight. That was nothing. I ended up getting where I needed to go. Get to what is it? Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Yeah, Columbia. You was an hour away from us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember that. So yeah, and off rip, I remember my first 2 nights there, because by the time I had got there, I left in like early in the day, and I ended up getting to reception, because that's where you get before you go straight to basic. I got to reception, I'll say probably 12 o'clock the next morning. We got zero sleep. We were doing things all the way from 12 to, I'll say, 6 in the morning when we have chow. So I've already gone the whole day, tired, been up all day, been on a plane, been traveling. Now I don't sleep. So the first, I'll say 48 hours of those first 2 days, I probably got 2 hours of sleep. You know what I mean? Just on some real, like, y'all not allowed to sleep type nonsense. Like that was the first time I watched people sleep standing up, like straight up like a plank, but still asleep, right? Like it's a skill. Now moving on to basic, I got a couple stories when it comes to basic. Let's talk about Drill Sergeant Q, right? Shout out Drill Sergeant Q.
So we gonna put the names out?
Oh yeah, for sure. He OG.
I mean, you out. You don't care no more.
Yeah. I could care less, honestly. But Drill Sergeant Q. So let's say we're 2-3 weeks in to red phase, because it's so people who don't know basic training, and I don't know how it is for other branches, but in the Army it was set up in phases: red phase, white phase, and blue phase. So red phase was the toughest phase. That's where they focus on breaking you down as a soldier.
Wait.
What's up?
What's the phases?
Red, white,
and blue.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we were still in red phase. I want to say this was maybe the second or last week in red phase, and it had started off wrong. It just, the day started off bad, right? So I didn't secure my locker when we left for PT, and by the time I came back, Yeah, y'all know where this is going. By the time I came back, everything was everywhere. Everything was everywhere. I'm like,
Yeah,
shaving
my
cream,
boy
all
out.
the shaving cream was sprayed across the floor. All my clothes
Boy.
were mixed in the shaving cream. Everything was everywhere, right?
Hey, that shit sound
So,
fun as an instructor, bro.
yeah, as an instructor, it sounds like a dream, right? So that was the beginning of the day. Move on, after first formation, we have chow or whatever. And we're working with our pro masks. First time learning how to put them on and take them off and learn the pouch and all that stuff, right? The face mask, the gas mask. And so it has like a clip on the side, like a long waistband, right? And so I didn't know how to set it up. I literally just got it. Tried to take it off and it like swung and it like drug on the ground a little bit. Just a little bit. Like just like
So
you
now
know what
you
I mean?
making noise.
Yeah, exactly. Just enough to make some noise, bro. Just enough to make some noise. So after that, second platoon drill sergeant, and it's a black female drill sergeant. I'm talking, she's in my face, this close from me, just snapping, like, who do you think you are? Dragging equipment, whoop-de-whoop, blase blah, right? So she's in my face. Same time she's in my face screaming. My drill sergeant who threw everything out my locker earlier, I guess he's coming back from breakfast, so he's showing up just to see me get yelled at after he already did what he did to me this morning. So he walks up right next to her. I got two guys, just two in my face. And he's not saying anything. And she's just, look me in my eyes. Look me in my eyes. Don't look me in my eyes. Whoop-de-whoop, blah, blah, blah. So that goes on, right? I get through that. So now we're at dinner chow. You know what I'm saying? We're marching back from dinner chow. Just had
It's
a
all the
decent.
same day.
Yeah, this is all the same day. This is all in one day. This is
They was
all
his ass.
this is one day. So we marching back from dinner chow. We're marching, got your fingers like this or whatever, supposed to be knees up, whoop-de-whoop. So I'm marching, thinking I'm doing a decent job, at least blending in, right? So out of nowhere, I hear from probably 20 feet behind me, right, curl your fucking fingers. And I'm like, oh, okay, he got me. Fingers probably wasn't curled. Let me curl them. You know
This
what I'm
man
saying?
going through hell.
So I curl my fingers, keep marching as if nothing ever happened. Right. When you gonna stop acting like a bitch? I'm marching in formation. I hear that, and like it's 60 people in my platoon. So 60 other people just heard this man call me outside my name.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
You the bitch out of 60 people.
For sure. So I look back and he popping off getting his. That's cool. So he said, keep nodding your head and smacking your teeth. So I did. I was like, this the youth.
Oh, you wild,
the
boy. You a
ignorant,
wild boy.
ignorance. Right. Fall out of formation. Grab a battle buddy. Bet. I'm talking about I just veered off. Like this was what I was waiting on, right? And mind you, let me preface this. We're 3 weeks in. 3 weeks, 21 days at minimum. I have never seen this man's eyes. Never. This man has had dark shades on every single time I've seen this. I've never seen his eyes.
So,
right? For sure. So fall out of formation. Walk up. I get probably within 3 feet of him. I mean, if any 3 feet, I'm all in this man's space, right? So he snatches his round brown off, flings that thing like the world's best frisbee, grabs his shades, slams them junks on the ground. He gonna need a new pair of those, right? So now all I see is fire. I'm just looking locked in with fire. Right. You look like you want to fucking go. Step in the grass. Oh, that's what I signed up for. I didn't realize like he could do that. I didn't know he could do that. Right, step in the grass. Nah, drill sergeant. Nah, step in the grass. Take his rank off. Step in the fucking grass. Nah, drill sergeant, you got it. You got it. I'm good. So after that,
I didn't know y'all was cutting up like that. Air Force needs some of that.
No, yeah, for sure. So after that, it got more therapeutic. It was less like in my ass. He's like, right, you've been fucking up all day. What's the issue? You've been a decent soldier up until this point. And I was like, yo, drill sergeant, you tossed my locker this morning. I ain't gonna cap. Like, I've been blowed ever since. But this is when he taught me something that really stuck with me. And I mean, granted, it's, not just profound advice, but it stuck with me. Right. You letting something that happened this morning fuck your whole day up. Your whole day. Ever since that, you've been off all day. Whether you realized it or not, your actions have shown that you've been off. And so from there, from there on, we didn't really have no issue. Really, we didn't have any issues. But just then, in that third week, that eye waking moment when he went from this nigga finna beat my ass to, hey, you really need to get your shit together. That showed me what really it was all about. And it was from there. It was I didn't look at the drill sergeants as like, oh, big bad scary drill sergeants. It was more so his job is to be a dick. Like that. Like that's his job. Like his job is to do that, and my job is to take it in the sense, granted it's not just for him to there's
your job is to take the dick, bro.
Yeah, I'm about to say you did an incredible job connecting those points. You know what I'm saying? Their job is to be my job is to take it.
To take it.
Saying no shame in that. We rolling with it. We understand. It just
all in all, it's the green weenie. You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, that's what y'all call it?
The green weenie.
Y'all it that in the Army? The green weenie?
Okay.
Y'all don't call it that? The green weenie?
Absolutely not.
What is that? Are we
what is that? Yeah, who is that?
That's the military. Like when you get fucked by the green weenie.
Nah. I'm gonna have to cut that.
We don't have any cute pet names like that.
Yeah, when you leave, don't get approved. Green weenie.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I just wouldn't say it, but it's cool.
I mean, yeah, it's a concept. It's a concept.
That's army. That's army culture.
Right. That's when we got to stay the hell away from that, Gotti. What was your basic?
Did it? I enjoyed basic. It was cool. So I started off as I can't even remember what my first job was. But then I got so I got on barracks. So the guy who carries the flag in front of the squadron where we're marching, he got fired. So they gave me his job, and it's probably because I'm short and I had a little bit of experience with drill from high school. So I got that job, and then our first element leader. So one of the leaders of the flight out of the 5, you have 4 you got your 4 section leads, and then you have your main guy who's in charge of everybody. So one of them, the first guy, he got fired. So I got promoted to that job. And I think it partly was because I'm short, because of the way that I thought about it years later, the way that the flight is set up when you form everybody up, it's shortest to tallest. And I was one of the shortest guys in the flight. So they stuck my ass in the middle. I thought I was doing a good job. That probably wasn't the case. And it just happened that it was another short black dude that had got fired, and they gave me his job. So I was like, all right, word. So from that point on, so that was probably week 2, maybe 3. I can't remember. It was pretty early on, but I was, one of the leaders within the flight. So, I mean, that came with its own set of challenges, but I enjoyed it. I think that's kind of what started, my that sort of theme in my career, I guess, of, being able to be put in leadership positions and excelling and doing well and enjoying being a supervisor and making sure people are taken care of. So it was hard though, just because I was the second youngest guy in my flight, because I had turned 18 2 days before I left for basic. The youngest guy in my flight was still 17. So me and him was, still babies, and we had dudes, I think the oldest guy in our flight was, because this was before they upped the age, I think, for active duty to whatever it is, 38 now. So the oldest guy on our flight was almost 32. We called him Papa Galvez. He was old. He was old as a bitch.
I think we had,
yeah, it's something crazy now. But back when I came in, the oldest you could be active duty was 32 or something like that. He was 31 or something. But just kind of, trying to figure out how to get all these grown ass people to follow very simple directions was a pain in the ass, especially, being so young and being where I'm from and not having all those communication skills, coming out the South. I didn't know how bad, or I didn't know how much of a heavy accent we got until you hear somebody else talk from where you from and you've been away from that place for so long. And I didn't get that until I got to my first duty station. So that barrier of communication, me being young and me not having, the skills to articulate myself kind of, hurt a little bit, but just my personality, the way that I am, I'm gonna get my point across at the end of the day, regardless. It was cool. I enjoyed it. I remember one weird ass situation. Like, I think it was towards the end. I had a couple weird situations. It was towards the end. We had finally got like our blues, and we was able to wear them. I think it had to be like the second to last week or the last week, and we needed them to be like ironed and pressed. And I don't think anybody took their shit to the dry cleaners, but it was still like raggedy, and then nobody wanted to look raggedy, so we was like, all right, we can just iron them. But for some reason, it was only 2 people out of my flight of 50 that knew how to iron. It was me and this gay dude. And not like that's like a woman's task or anything, but it was just like, yo, why is the only people who know how to iron is the 18-year-old and the gay guy? Like, why? What do y'all do when y'all clothes are wrinkled? Well, you just
Put
throw them in the
dryer
dryer,
with a wet
bro.
sock.
That's tough.
That's
what they do.
That's ridiculous. So me and dude spent I don't know how many hours ironing, shirts, pants, damn the tops,
crazy.
like everything for 50
I need
people.
all the protein bar.
That's crazy.
For sure.
Yeah, you damn
But
right.
well, I wasn't even mad though, because it got me out of whatever we was doing. I actually do like ironing, because Khalil, no, Mama done had us ironing since we was probably like about 8, 9.
Young
Like,
hell.
line them stitches up and make it do what it do. So it's therapeutic for me. I like doing that type of shit. So that was cool. It was just weird that all these grown ass people don't know how to properly take care of their clothes. And then I remember I almost got washed back, and it was for the pettiest shit ever. So this was again later on in our time there. So it had to be week. It was week 7, because week 8 my people was coming out there because we was graduating. So we was at Chow, and I don't know if y'all remember, like when you get done eating, you go by the wall and you stand and wait for somebody from your flight to like tap you so y'all can walk out together so you can have your wingman with you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it was us on our brother flight. We was eating at the same time or whatever. And I remember it was like 2 guys in front of me that had left out, and like they was from 2 different flights, but they just one of the guys kind of looked similar to the other guy. And I thought it was kind of funny. I'm like, yeah, we done been here damn near two months, and you don't know who's in your flight at this point. So I'm walking out the defect, I'm walking out the defect with my wingman, and I got a little smile on my face. Like I said, I think the shit is funny. Out of nowhere, I see the new blue rope in the squadron. So the blue rope, the superintendent of the squadron, the head honcho, head MTI. And
Right.
nigga on a mission to kill. He see me, he see all my teeth showing. He like, what the fuck is so funny? And at this point, I didn't know it was an issue. I'm really thinking this shit is funny. So I told him I'm waiting for him to laugh. Cause at this point, everybody, all my MTIs, they done got cool. They a little laid back now. They not, they not on 10 no more. So I done got used to, being able to have a little bit of dialogue with the MTIs. He did not find that funny at all. And he was also upset that I was so relaxed with him. So he told my MTI or whatever. And he like, hey, yeah, so you got 2 options. You can either, you can either, get fired and keep all your family time, or I can take an hour each day you supposed to have with your family, and you get to keep your job. Now I'm at this point, I'm like, first of all, y'all fucked up, cause I ain't never got no trouble this whole time, but these are my options. So now I'm thinking, all right, cool. So I'm not about to let y'all fire me, because I done been in front of this flight this whole time. I'm taking some pride in my position. I done all this work to get us where we at. Y'all not about to put somebody else in the front of my good work. And I'm short. So I've been imagining my family being able to see me in front of everybody, because they're not gonna see me any other way, because I'm small. I'm in the back.
Right.
I'm 6. You're not gonna see me in that flight if you throw me in the middle in the pack. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be able to see my family the rest of my life. You can have that little hour. I don't care. We weren't finna do nothing no way. So yeah, like that went down the way it did. Got to keep with my folks. I can't even remember if we missed that hour or not. But
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, basic was cool. I had a good time.
Nah, basic was interesting. Uh, you know, I'm trying to think, because when we first got off the bus, obviously you fly in, you first get off the bus, you hear about like y'all do the bag drop the first night, like pick them up, put them down, pick them up, put them down, that whole thing. So when you step off the bus with your suitcase,
Yeah, I don't remember doing that.
so the dude we
Probably
had the
did, but I
short,
don't remember.
had this short black dude, and I remember had looking up videos about basic training, like what they gonna do to you, whatever, whatever. So we get off the bus, and he's like, everybody's standing there, get like quiet. He's like, hey, pick your bags up. So everybody think we finna leave. He's like, all right, put your bags down. And so we do that about 2, 3 times, and then I'm like, I ain't doing this no more. Like, this is dumb. You feel me? And so he walks up, and he's like, the hell you think is wrong? Like, what the hell's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm not finna keep picking this bag up and putting it down. Like, it's 11 o'clock at night. We tired, been traveling all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody know this is for sure. He calls everybody over. He's like, for the rest of this time here, we gonna make his time a living hell, since he gonna tell us what he wants to do. So he tell everybody get upstairs, we go to sleep. So the rest of basic training for me was like, I ain't never really do nothing wrong, but I had a bunch of eyes on me. So then it got kind of petty. So you know how we had 15 minutes to eat, and well, so they like legally you have 15 minutes to eat per the like
it's more
per
like
the
6.
written
Yeah, I'm saying
rule
that didn't
sheet.
sound familiar, but sure.
Yeah. Like, so
Something like
in the
that.
rules, you
Oh no, I
have to
took
have
time
15
for
minutes to eat. They kind of scare you into thinking you got to eat a lot faster. So I would sit down and like I had my little wristwatch and I'd set that joint for 15 minutes and I would eat at a pace that allowed for me to finish right at 15 minutes. So like how you sit down at the table, it's for y'all sit down. Most of your people done left. So I always finish my meals with another flight. And this went on for weeks. Like I just 15 minutes, I'm taking all my time. Everybody else rushing to eat, throwing up and shit. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And
Amen.
so I remember MTI came up to me uh, while we were folding clothes, and he's like, "Punk." So I was like, I get up. He's like, "I gotta ask you something, cause we've been trying to figure it out. Why you eat so slow?" I got 15 minutes, and I'm gonna make full use of it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to eat so much that my stomach be turned up and I be throwing up all over the place. And he was like, "So that's just gonna be who you are for the rest of your time here. You just gonna keep finding little shit." And I'm
You know,
like,
that's crazy too, because if you gonna sit there and eat a whole full meal and then go run a 5K, like no,
yeah, bro, they was tripping. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't doing nothing to inconvenience myself. That's why same thing when we was in honor guard. I'm not rough shaving, dry shaving. I'm not doing things that just don't work for me. And the other issue I had in basic training that I haven't told anybody, but I feel like this is the perfect place to tell them. So no behavior things, other minus little petty things like that. For the life of me, I couldn't stop wetting the bed. I don't know why.
Bro, what?
I know. We just gonna throw that out there. That was the after I got done with the bag drop situation and they had to make peace with the fact that I was gonna take my full 15 minutes. For whatever reason, I kept wetting the bed. I have no idea why. Like it was
I,
like every week.
to me, I ain't even mad at you, bro. Wetting the bed is kind of odd because you had access to the restroom, but I did piss
For real.
myself a couple times while I was out there. They had us drinking too much
What the
water,
fuck is wrong
You know
with
what I'm saying? I don't
y'all?
know. I don't know if it was the water.
bro.
And then it's like I had to pee all the time. Like before we used to march to class, the NCI stopped the whole flight and be like, Paul, do you need to pee? Because we're not finna, it ain't gonna be nowhere for you to go. And I'm like, I'm good right now. But then we get going, bro. My bladder was on 10. I had to go to the
Nah,
bathroom
son.
all the time, bro.
They would stop the flight and say, "Yo, Coop, you gotta pee." I'd be like, "Yeah," and I go. And then after that,
Like,
I have to go. And
What the fuck
yes,
is
we
wrong
get
with
to
y'all,
class.
bro?
bro. Like
Y'all was
we have
pissing
been in the middle of
yourselves?
marching somewhere. Like remember we used to take our classes from the old dorms to the new dorms when they were building Disneyland. And I would have to leave with a wingman to go to the bathroom, wherever the nearest one was. Like my bladder was like not fucking with all that water we was drinking.
Bro,
It
it
was
was like
insane.
8 canteens a day or something you're supposed to drink.
Yeah,
No way I was doing that, bro.
that
And
shit
I was
wasn't working.
trying in the first week. I was truly trying.
I'm not gonna let y'all rationalize or justify this. There is
Not
no.
acceptable.
It's not
Hey,
Not
Caleb, did it happen
acceptable.
to you?
Bro,
Hell,
it
It
affects
happened to
people
me
different,
either.
bro. That bladder be hitting when you
it
you
be
yeah,
take
I
4.
don't give a damn.
Bro, drink 4 canteens before lunchtime, bro. You done, bro. It's nothing to do.
I
You
couldn't
Yeah,
hang, bro.
talk about nighttime. We way past lunch at this point.
Oh
You didn't
no,
have. That's what I'm saying, bro. He talking about he kept doing it.
Bro, I couldn't stop because y'all already know, like y'all listen to Deja. My wife, she'll tell you, like when I'm asleep, I'm not waking up for anything. It's not happening. So like when I go to sleep, I black out. So I just woke up by once a week, just wet. This went on my whole time there. Just
I remember when I was young, I used to if I peed in the bed, this is like little boy age, bro. I used to pee in the bed. I would have a dream that I was going to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Were you having that?
no, I was just waking up wet. And everybody knew I was killing the laundry crew. Like
You was that, bro.
they was
That's
absolutely stuck.
that's crazy.
It,
I remember
it's
like for a
unfortunate.
while, like everybody in my flight was like constipated. Like wasn't nobody shitting for a minute, like a few weeks. Like when everybody was like, I think we all just came to the realization like at once, like yo, like have you took a shit since you been here? It's like no, me neither, me neither. Damn, why we can't take shits? And then after that, it was on popping. Everybody was just in that shitting.
I think that's something they kind of tell you about. It's similar, like your central nervous system can only take so much change. It's like because dogs do the
Yeah,
same
I
thing.
think it was
I know
just it was a
Coop
lot
know.
of stress, and then you changing
Yeah,
your pad up too.
you take a dog out of town, they might not eat for a few days, might not shit for a
But
few days
I
just because they out of their
absolutely
element.
not peeing on myself.
Hey, look, man, I ain't proud of it. The whole flight knew. We had two
That's
black
what's
women
up.
MTIs. They
Yep.
drew they ran some incredible. Um, they just was honestly two of the most phenomenal women I've ever seen. I mean, they were so they just walked that straight and narrow. They were so cut and dry. You couldn't get a word in. I mean, it was like, I would say it was terrifying. Like I would put you want to get a job done, I'm putting a black woman in that place. It was nothing like
Yeah,
having to them.
I
Either one.
went I went through a bunch of MTIs for whatever reason. Like we had like 6 or 7 for some strange reason. We had like a few of them that was steady, but I think we ended off with a black female. Like I think she was a tech, and she
Yeah,
was security forces too. And she was like this tall. She
right.
ain't fucking around. She's at my base now. She's a senior. She's a senior master sergeant now, and I seen her like a few months ago, and I don't forget nobody's face. And I was just looking at her. I was like, "Where the hell do I know you from?" And I went to like a little not a convention, but like a round table type of thing. You know when they be up like talking.
Yeah.
What's that called? I don't know, but she was up there and she mentioned she was MTI. I was like, "That's it." And then
That's
I
it.
remember I was scared.
I seen the bad drop again. Like, he had Charleston. I seen him during a fog walk. Um, and obviously they go through so many people he didn't remember. But when I told him about that night, he was like, "Oh, I'm surprised you still here." And I was like, all right, it's nice to see you." But I was just like I said, I just wanted to see what everybody's little basic training experiences was like. Going back to the way.
Before we jump off of that, I got one great story that I almost forgot about, and
Good.
this was right before we graduated. So I'm gonna give it a little backstory. So we had a black female drill sergeant, the same one that got in my ass early on in the cycle.
Mm,
Drill Sergeant Davis was her name. So I want to say after week 3, she went ghost. Like out of nowhere, there was just no more Drill Sergeant Davis. So we just went on about the cycle or whatever. And I'll say before like the last week. So if we graduated on a Thursday, she showed up on like that Saturday before, right? And she had CQ. She had CQ on that Sunday. And so she was basically the only NTO that would be in charge of all of the until other NTOs came in or whatever. Basically, what people were doing on Sundays is you would either spend the morning at church,
right.
doing laundry, writing letters, cleaning the bay, whatever the case, right? So we come down, we do our first formation, and everyone isn't there. Like normal. People are getting dressed, people are, for church or whatever. But it was because we were at a point in basic where all the drill sergeants were so lax. Like they understood, like, okay, we're gonna have shit bags, we're going to church, we're gonna have the guys that clean the bay, whatever the case. Drill Sergeant Davis didn't get that memo. She was still red phase drill sergeant by the time she showed
Oh
up.
man.
So she comes, she's like, who the fuck are all these soldiers showing up? I went to basic in Fort Jackson, South Carolina in the middle of the summer. Blazing hot. Blazing hot.
Oh, yeah. I was in Texas in June.
For sure. So she starts snapping. She started everyone drop. Everybody drop. Give me 1,000 push-ups right now type nonsense.
Ooh,
So
wee.
everyone's just working out. Everyone just whatever workout she named, we doing it. People still are slowly filing down the stairs. And so now everyone's sitting in the push-up position singing the song, hurry up, we're waiting on you. Hurry up. We're waiting on you. We got to get louder and louder until everyone comes
Y'all
down.
different.
So finally, let's say not even 100%. Let's say 80%, 86% of the people come downstairs, right? So she's asking, why are you? And of course, in the military, when everyone comes down in formation, we're supposed to be in the same uniform. So if everyone's wearing OCPs,
Oh my
everybody needs
goodness.
to be wearing OCPs. If everyone's wearing PTs, everybody needs to be wearing PTs. So mind you, this was a morning formation. So we showed up in PTs. There are guys in OCPs. She started snapping. You know what? Everybody go upstairs, put your winter PTs on. Full winners. I'm talking about pants, gloves, hat, shirt, jacket, long sleeve shirt on top of that shirt in the middle of the summer, bro. When I tell you she worked us out, breakfast at I'll say 9:08 to include the time of us walking. When I tell you she smoked us from 11:45.
Oh my God.
Straight
Oh my God.
smoke, dog. Straight smoke. And guess what happened when we got back? She continued to do it. It
That
smoked us probably 4 or 5 hours. Probably a total of 4
that
or 5
sounds
hours.
unfortunate.
Just to give us her last smoking before, we get on up out of here.
Well, this shit made me bleed blue, boy. I tell you what.
Yeah. Now I
There's
get
more
it.
stories. There are so many more stories. They'll come out.
Now I
They'll
get
come.
it.
Hell no.
Yeah, nah, that smoking thing, they don't even do that anymore.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, they're not allowed
They
to
used
do
to tell
that.
us, hey, you about to push
Get
Texas.
on your face.
You get on your face, you
Oh,
about to
for
push
real?
Texas. Yeah.
Yeah.
We was getting
So I
it in.
did cause us to get that on our last day, the morning of graduation, our last meal. So I was a child runner. Um, and so that means child runner being whenever it's time for your flight or your in the group of individuals to eat, you kind of got to report to all of the sergeants who were on duty at that time and kind of say, hey, my squadron or my group is present and accounted for. We're ready to eat. And so you do so by marching up to the table, and we called it a snake pit because all of the MTIs are sitting there waiting for you to mess up so they can lunge at you and jump on you. So we have been doing pretty good with it. Sometimes they ask you questions under that little book we had to study. Last day we had to we were doing PT. It was cold, so we had our big jacket on top. We used that to march to PT. We took it off, did PT, put it back on. We was in a rush to eat because PT went a little long that day for some reason, and so neither me or the other child runner got all day buttons and zippers fastened. We kind of just put it together and closed our little belt on top of it. And we okay, you know what? We should be straight. You know what I'm saying? So we marching, and so pretty much in order to get to the snake pit, you have to walk an L. So you walk a little bit, take a sharp turn, and then walk straight down to the snake pit. I tell you what, we hit that corner and messed around and pivoted too hard, and both of our jackets just flew open like a movie scene. We had to march the rest of the way out of uniform just like that. Everybody at the table, it was quiet for like 3 seconds. Then they all stood up at the same time and they got in our asses, probably worse than I've ever heard in my life. More so just because we had the audacity not to stop and fix ourselves prior to getting there. It was the last day before we graduated. We was I don't even think we ate that morning. We was on our face for the rest of the meal period. She was so embarrassed. We had set her up for failure. You know
Bro, I remember we was at the chow hall leaving, and some dude was coming in. This is later on in the process, and we're getting ready to get out, and it's like a newer, like brand new guy coming in, and Cuz didn't blouse his pants.
Oh man, that's that
Dude,
little stuff.
they said the coldest shit I ever heard, and I was so upset it made sense. MTI walked up, big, huge, black ass motherfucker. He walked up, he said, "Hey, why do your pants look like pants?" And I was like, I was like, yo, why do your pants look like pants?
Hey, some of them moments, them MTIs will come out and
They
say
be
something,
cold with it, yeah.
and you be like, in the flight, they not even talking to you directly, but you in the back like, because it'd be funny, it'd be nothing you could do. You better not laugh.
I looked at bro pants. I seen them shits hanging past like by his ankle. I said, "Oh man."
Man, the one thing that's kind of cool is we keep all speaking to the importance of having had Black leadership and influence so early on into our military career. I don't think y'all have mentioned somebody throughout your basic training stories that wasn't Black. Um, I was stumbling across Instagram a couple of days ago, saw some of my other homies back home kind of arguing back and forth on whether or not Black people should join the military, given our history and the climate that we're in socially, especially. 8 years later, with the knowledge that we have, the experiences that we've had, should Black people join the military? Are we glad or proud that we made it into the military? Gotti, that's gonna be on you. I'm gonna start first because you got something to say.
I mean, it's just all dependent on how you view the world, view society. Really, I mean, would I say that we shouldn't? I wouldn't say that. I can see why somebody might feel that way. I don't have like a super like sense of pride because I'm in the military. I am proud of the work that I do, and I am proud of the people that or I'm proud to be a part and be, associated with the people that I hold respect for that's also in the service and that have served. But as far as just like being super proud because I'm in the military, no. No. I mean, I look at it like, the military is just an extension of society. So all the issues and all the things that you're going to deal with in regular society are going to be the same, just, if not minimized a little bit in the military and sanitized as much as can be, but not a lot. So just because you Black and you don't join the military doesn't mean that you're subjected to that much more racism. Just like, if you're in the military and you're Black doesn't mean you're not going to be subjected to that much more racism or what have you. So, I mean, it just depends on who you are and what it is you want to do. Like, it's a job, it's a job is a job. And, I feel like the government work and military work is more not fair, but what is. So it ain't like you can't steal some shit from me for the most part in the military because you Black. Like you can't not give me my shit because I'm Black like you can in the civilian sector. So if I'm gonna get my GI Bill because I served, I'm gonna get my GI Bill regardless of how I look in that sense. So I mean, I don't have an answer, but that's how I feel about it.
For sure. Nah, I think it's an interesting conversation because they were pretty much saying that nobody joins the military that's Black to actually be a part of the military. It's always going to be because of the either the extracurricular opportunities like travel or just for the extended benefits like home purchasing, education, some of the things that are a little bit harder to accomplish, especially at a young age
I wasn't
with
thinking
the
about
military.
any of that. I just knew I wanted to work, and my folks was in. Not that they made me want to join, but it's just like, yo, it's a job, and it's an easy job to get and keep, so I will take that job.
Like this works too.
Yeah, like I literally would do anything. If I had other options that seemed better at the time, I would have taken them. This wasn't my end all be all by any means, and it never will be. Like if somebody got if somebody got a job for me, I'll take it. I don't care.
For sure. I found it interesting though because like now that I'm a technical instructor and we sit down and we have a bunch of conversations, the same questions I asked y'all to start this joint: name, hometown, why you're here, and I usually ask them what it is they like to do when they're not, being super diligent students, which is not always the case. the why you're here part is equally as spread out for them as it is for us. So like a lot of black people who have not been a part of the military, it either comes down to, well, large parts, it comes down to like, oh, you must be Uncle Tom, or you doing a white man's bidding, or so something along those lines, or you're like this super patriotic, which is also of equal fault in their eyes. But a lot of the white people I talk to, they're not here for super patriotic causes either. They're here either just to find a steady, consistent job or to take advantage of those same benefits.
That's not the case anymore.
Right. So I was curious to hear y'all feedback, but even just listening to them, just how far and wide, like how we judge ourselves versus the reality of the situation for all people. A lot of people are here just to kind of do the job. It is easy, consistent work.
Oh yeah. As soon as that check stop, I stop.
Right. Khalil, what you think now that you've been on both sides?
I would say, to answer the question, would I say is it like for black people? No. I would start off with a solid no, but that doesn't mean it can't be for someone who is black. You see what I'm saying? Like those are two different statements when I say that. Is it for like just your average, whatever you think of when you say your average, black person? I would say no, just because of, like Caleb said, because you're in the military, it doesn't mean that you're not subscribed to racism still, right? Like it's still there. And if anything, it's almost harder to deal with being in the military, because when you're in a squad or you're in a group with, your soldiers, your guys or whatever, and they're making racist jokes or just saying things that they shouldn't say especially when we're talking about race, it's harder to check that when you're in the military versus being a civilian. When we're civilians, if somebody says something they shouldn't say, it's off rip, like, hey, cut that shit out, like whatever, if it need to go to the next level, like we can do that. In the military, granted, you still have the ability to do that. You can check anyone the same way. It's just the consequences are much more different. You know what I mean? Is it worth punching this dude in the face because he's making all these racist jokes, knowing they're gonna take half my pay, knowing I'm gonna be on extra duty for 45? It's just different things to consider. Now, whatever the answer is, right. That's all on the individual, but it definitely is different. But like I said, it's not that it's no black people should look to join. If there are positives being black and being in the military, just from like you said, the extracurricular things, whether it be them paying for school or them helping you with, like when you get out, they help with homes and all the extracurricular things that they have to offer, whether it be while you're in the service or, the things that you get once you get out the service. There are things that they have for you as a black person that you may never be able to be privileged to had you not gone to the military, right? Mm-hmm. So with that, that's why I would say it's not for black people, but as a black person, there are still aspects of it that you can take advantage of and find your way towards the top.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be my answer. Yeah, you said that perfectly. Because there are opportunities afforded to you here just for being here that you probably wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. You know what I'm saying?
All you gotta do is show up.
All you gotta do is show up, not be a an asshole, right? And not be
I wouldn't even say that, not be a criminal. And then you can be an asshole.
You can, but then I would say if you're an asshole, taking it from me personally, now you play the lottery of who it is that you come across. So like I've seen it work for me and not work for some other people. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't have that other half that's necessary, for that balance. But it's definitely a hell of a head start that I think more people could look in. Like I think you can't erase what was done and the experiences that we had in the military, whether you look at World War II, coming back, being hung in your uniform, and just the different things that have happened to black people as a part of this journey, not having access to the GI Bill and things of that nature in the 1940s and whatnot. You can't erase that. But as time goes on and things evolve, the military is in a better place to be like a platform for people to go ahead and stand up tall.
Yeah, I think
I want to put one more note on that, and because you said a word that really stuck out. head start, and that's a really good way to look at it, right? Like, so for me, when I joined the military, it was, and you said this before, Kayla, I'm sure, and Henry said this, and I'm sure, plenty of us feel this way. When I joined the military, that was, like you said, was never the end all be all. Like, I didn't plan on going to the military and staying in the military. It was just a matter of using it to get ahead, right? Like when I was 18 in the civilian world, when it came to like me thinking about like, oh, how can, I want a car. How will I be able to get a car? That wasn't like a realistic, thought. But once I got to the military, it became more of an obtainable thing, right? And that's just something as simple as wanting a car, right? Like there are other things. If you want to learn how to box, if you want to learn how to do
Yeah.
whatever, like there are things in the military that all you have to do is go, and
just
it's
literally just
afforded.
get there.
Yeah, once you get there, everything's afforded to you. So, like I said, I just wanted to touch on that because the word head start is a really good way to look at it. When I explain it to all my homeboys, it's like, look, yeah, I was gone for 3-4 years, but like I'm right back. I look the same, like nothing happened. I just used that as essentially a head start in life. You know what I'm saying? It got me a car. It taught me some life lessons. I was able to learn about credit and learn about, more adult stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It just put me there a lot earlier than people who just got out of high school and either went to college or didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I think just to touch on it too, to get my take, it's gonna be brief. I mean, you guys pretty much hit it all on the same head, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. When I made the decision, I came up with two things. It was I needed to be live on my own, and the other one was I needed to be able to protect my health. And actually, it's three things really: my health, live on my own, and to travel. So like for me, it just made sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be in debt with school because I definitely didn't have a scholarship. So it was like, all right, you got to make something shake real quick, So in order to accomplish those three things, I needed to figure out what it was going to be. And joining the Air Force just made sense. And I like to think at that time, I had no idea what it was I really wanted to do with my life,
Yeah. That's another thing.
So,
I'm glad you said that.
yeah. So like, it was just like, okay, well, let me do this, see how it worked. I had no intention to stay in 20. Now at this point, I think I probably will. But I've got some side ventures or whatnot that if they take off, then I'll have other options. But in turn, I think over the years, like I said, I've been in just over 7 years that I've come to really enjoy what it is that I do every day. So right now I'm content. Like I said, I got side ventures. I'm still trying to elevate, but it just makes sense to me in a nutshell.
For sure. What would y'all say?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'll say I think the last thing I want to say on it is usually the military I find is either leading or right on the cusp of progression and moving things forward as far as how they treat people and being inclusive and all those things and trying to catch up with the times really. And especially in the Air Force. I can't speak for the Army because I'm not in the Army, but in the Air Force, especially with the last. Sure. So in the Air Force, probably in the last 3 or 4 years, with our heads of our enlisted, so Chief Wright and Chief Bass, I think both of them have really done a good job of putting us, and then the Chief of Staff of the Air Force as well, General Brown, and I can't remember what the last guy was, but either way, all of them have done a good job of putting us out in the front of that and trying to catch up with the times, really. And I feel like in the military, being black in the military, or being whatever minority group you subscribe to in the military, it feels good, at least being in the Air Force and knowing that, we leading the charge in those spaces as much as we can.
For sure.
For sure. I have a question to follow up on what you just said. I do want to take this time to make sure everybody knows I don't wet the bed anymore. I just feel like we moved on from that, and I never had a chance to clarify. That was a problem I had at one time in my life, and it was just within those 2 months.
I'd like to add to that as well. Momentarily, he mentioned some people running in the hangars and different things with the airplane. Hey, listen, there's no mishaps on my watch. I just want y'all to know. I had no mishaps.
Okay.
That was the funniest shit ever.
We got called in for it. I didn't find it funny at all. I was mad.
We didn't get called in, but I remember like when it happened, I'm like, how the fuck do y'all hit a hanger? Then I remember like they sent the email out and they like they had blocked off like little sections in the hangar now. And I'm like, yo, y'all are stupid. How do you hit a door with a plane?
To add to that, it was flight line guys too. It was not people from my section. So
how do you hit a door with an airplane, bro?
Two of the niggas on the station, y'all crashed them into each other miraculously.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
But you talked about what it means to be black, and the tail end of your response, or how proud you are to at least have been black in the progressive space that we're in now. What is it that you would say the black experience is like in the military? And I find that an important question only because it took me a minute to see the underlying and the subtle, covert little games that can be played and opinions that can be had. Because my first shop was all black. I worked for 2 black women that were active duty. I worked for a black woman, a master sergeant who was a ARC or an activated reservist, and then everybody else was black. So when I first got there, I low key, that was like an extension of home. You know, it was a very familiar space to be in. It wasn't until they all PCS'd out and I was left with the remaining individuals that like the wall was down. Even our flight chief, senior plumber, I'll say his name, he's out in the military, incredible guy who ate dinner at his house. He was black. So everything was black when I first came in. So it took me a minute for that veil to be lifted up.
What's the like? I mean, it can be hard sometimes just depending on where you are and what your structure is of and who you have around you. So like my first probably year in Charleston, I didn't have a lot of like black friends for real. Like it was like guys in the dorms I would kick with, but I wasn't in a space where I was separating my work life and my personal life. So the guys that I worked with, it was all like white dudes. So I'm not gonna say I hung out with them, but them was the only people that I knew outside of work. So if I was doing anything outside of work, it was more or less with them. And then, probably about a year and a half in, that's when I met you guys and I was able to, finally be back around black people and, and enjoy that. But I would never say that I kind of thought of those things separately. I didn't think of y'all as my military friends or, me being part of the military. Like y'all was just like my people, my family. So that didn't feel like I was in the military at that time. So I can't say that added to the experience at all. That's just a life experience that I had when I met you guys. But then even like being here, there's only a few black people that I've worked with and kicked it with work and outside of work. And it's, we all know how it is. It's like, being able to connect with somebody just on that deepest level without needing any further context, anything more than just the color of your skin, to be able to feel comfortable with somebody is an amazing thing. And it's sad that we feel that way, but it does mean a lot. And in my job, I don't know what it is. I haven't met that many folks that look like me. So whenever there is people around me that, do look like me and can have those shared experiences, it does mean a lot, and it makes me that much more comfortable. I can't say that I've experienced, or I can't think of too many things that I can recognize for myself. Things might have happened behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, that was because I was black. That was a detriment to me, but I didn't know. I think the only thing that could stand out, I think it had to be I don't know. I was still at Charleston. I was still an airman, like real young in my career. We was watching the World Cup, and it was we was all in there in the break room watching soccer or whatever. And it was like some African team playing some white guys or some white team from a white country, and it was 2 guys in the break room like texting each other, and I don't know how or why I ended up like looking at the text or looking at the phone, but they had referred to the black soccer players as like monkeys. And I'm like, What's up with y'all? Because I'm cool with these dudes. Like, they ain't never said nothing out the way to me. Like, one of them was from East Tennessee, and the other one was from, like, West Virginia or Virginia. So, it's already, whatever come with that when you think about that type of
Mm-hmm.
person. But they had never been, like, funny towards me in any kind of way. They just was just country white dudes as far as I knew. But then I seen that shit. I'm like, damn, that's how y'all talk to each other? Okay, cool. Like, all right, I know what's up. But unless I'm just completely forgetting something, I can't say anything else is just completely stood out that was like, yo, like, that I could, directly attribute to, some crazy shit. Obviously, you got the undertones and the, you know, just what comes with being black in general. But no, ain't nobody never said nothing out the way or sideways to me.
Yeah, for sure. No, I don't think I ever had anything incredibly sideways. Like I said, just going from a shop that was all black that first year, and then even the few white people that we had in the shop, they were there when everybody was there that was black. So the foundation and the groundwork had been laid for like how that communication should be and the nuances that you should offer and shouldn't offer. So it wasn't until I PCS into an all white office where I was like, oh, this is really how y'all sound. Like this is that other half of the military where you're
Yeah.
meeting people from Ohio, which I got a thing for people from Ohio.
There's so
You
many
can just
people
hear
in the
it.
Air Force from Ohio.
Yeah, yeah, and they
sense.
all got like a peculiar way of going about life. Certain areas of Texas that aren't as diverse, like you can now hear everything, no matter what subject it is. If it's brawn, if it's politics, it doesn't matter. You can hear. I'm like, damn, this is crazy. Like, and it got to the point where like, I'm just not gonna talk because I'm tired of constantly having to not only explain why it is that I feel the way that I feel, but just the length that you have to go to provide the context that most black people go into situations already having. It got to the point for like 4 months. I just didn't talk because I'm like, I'm sick of like having to.
I didn't talk
over.
because they didn't understand what I was saying. Like, remember when
Yeah,
I was talking about earlier, like with my accent, like for the
right.
first 6 months, I just didn't talk because they genuinely could not understand me, and I thought they was bullshitting. So I was like, yo, like, y'all ain't finna keep playing with me like that. But they
Right,
really just couldn't
right.
understand what I was saying.
Yeah. What you think, Coop? Being black in the military?
Oh, was that the original question? I had some technical difficulties.
Yeah, you had some
Yeah.
So I guess being black in the military, it's kind of like a broad statement right there. I mean, just like anywhere, it's going to be some trials and tribulations that you're going to face, especially being a black male in America. I think the biggest thing for me is when I joined, I didn't know what I was getting into or who was, what was the makeup of the people. You know what I'm saying? So like, I didn't know whether it was white, black. I didn't really know nobody that was white from the military. The only people that I knew that served was black.
Yeah.
So when I joined, it was like, oh, okay, this is what it really is. We minorities, And then you think about where these people come from.
Makes a big
The
difference.
walks of life, you compare it to what it is that you experienced growing up, what you learned from your parents versus what they learned from their parents. So it was like, oh, okay. You talking about people from Ohio or just anywhere, a lot of them is from the country or a little small town and ain't never seen a black person or, or had a conversation with one, so it's just like, you get to talking to some of them or a group of them and they saying stuff that is racist, but
they don't even know.
They don't even really know it.
You know what I'm saying? Like they literally lack the education or the experience with black people to realize that subconsciously they are making statements that affect me in my day-to-day life. You know what I'm saying? So and this is what I have to deal with on a daily basis, and the fact that they don't know, it doesn't register to them that it's wrong, So even if I did have something to say, which I have before, talking to their other counterparts that are also white or, they don't really know either. So it's like nothing wrong to them. So like they looking at me as like I'm causing a problem when really I'm not. I'm just voicing my experience or my concern about what's going on, So I think all in all, when the grand scheme of things, when we try to implement like diversity groups and different discussion boards and whatnot, it's important that they take the steps to join and kind of listen in because it's literally giving them the knowledge that they do not have or never learned.
They ain't got the choice because shit, they the root of the problem.
Yeah, they really
Yeah.
are. So like, it's important because they lack that education. They just never received it, you know. And it's no fault to them for being raised by people who they was raised by. But at this point, it's like y'all got to sit back and accept the fact that it is wrong and take the necessary steps to make it right. If you consider yourself being a good person, and I think that's what it boils down to, is just being a good person. So that's my take on it. I don't really have too much more to say. They need to get it together.
No, you hit a lot of good points. Like I said, I had a student tell me like I was the first black person they had to actually sit and listen to. That's just how small of a town they came from. Like they graduating class for real was like 10 people. And like even just when I asked everybody where they from, and I because like I said, I think about it all the times where I was like, dang, I just never seem to come across like Gotti touched on it. Like when we formed our friend group, it had nothing to do with the military. Like y'all are the kind of people I would have found in general. You know what I'm saying? So like you have that double life that you're living in a sense where it's like, okay, these are people that I've met because of the military, but this is like the people I would have met because of who I am. And these people speak to who I am at my core. And so when I get to thinking about just how hard it is to come across people that you can relate to in a space where you can be familiar, yeah, none of these people come from like diverse cities. Like I asked them like where are you from, talk about their high school and stuff like that. If I got 10 students in my class, 8 of them, their high school graduating class was no bigger than like 10, 20 people. And those are the same 10 or 20 people they've known their whole life. I graduated with like 1,800 kids and we started my freshman year with 21. So like it take a long time for me to be shocked or like surprised by the way somebody's walking, carrying themselves, or talking. And so it's just interesting the culture that's in place, considering we're the minority here equally as much as in the outside world. Khalil, I don't know. I know the Army.
Yeah, I mean, the Army itself is different. It's definitely like my experience has definitely been a little bit different than y'all's.
Yeah.
That could be just like who I am, also like where I was, also the branch I was in. You know what I mean? So I would start by saying like my time in the Army, it wasn't like I didn't have that same level of, I don't want to say culture shock for you guys, because the Army is more so like the melting pot of the military. Like that's where,
Yeah,
if anywhere,
Yeah,
like
yeah, for
you'll
sure.
find the minorities in the Army. You know what I mean?
definitely.
Yeah.
So as far as like having, you know, like
That
my,
used to make me wish I was in the Army or the Navy. Y'all got so many more like black people and
yeah, for
minorities.
sure.
They do. They
Yeah,
do.
so like as far as like, you know, getting on post, or you know, getting situated and, you know, having a hard time like finding people to, you know, people that I feel are closer to my people that I would identify as my people. Um
Hmm.
it wasn't as hard for me. Um Regardless of the skin color, even specifically talking about, you know, people of color, whether it be black or, you know, whatever it was, Hispanics or Asians, whatever you want to, you know, throw into that category. But it I didn't I didn't start noticing like the subtle differences. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't, as far as color, it didn't really start to rear its ugly head until things like regs started to come in. Like when I started growing my hair out, right? You know, I wanted a little flat top, right? But you could only have it a certain length. And, you know, in the Army, it's AR-67-1 or whatever it is, right? That's the dress code. And it talks about hair length, how long you can have your hair. And there were numerous times, you know, I'm being told, right, you need to cut your fucking hair. Sorry, just it's in regular, it's in regs. Like it's, you can bring a rule out, right? You need to cut your fucking hair. Sorry, right? You know what I'm saying? That was pretty much it. It wasn't. I'm not trying to hear nothing else. I think and it wasn't just. And the thing, it's not just me. It's me. It's my other homeboy who hair looked like mine. It's my other homeboy who hair looked like mine. You know what I'm saying? But then you start seeing
There's
the
a
white guy,
trend.
and they're wearing
With the with the
PCs.
with the fucking
With
joint
yeah, with this junk.
With the
with
comb
with the
over.
with the hard part with the
Oh yeah,
yeah.
right here for sure. Yeah, hair just hanging all out the PC. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, they
Looking
were
like a
being,
boy band.
yeah,
Right.
and yeah, they were being addressed, but it's the rate at which they were being addressed. It was the what's the word I want to use? How quick they were to address it with them versus it being me, right? Like I could have a fresh haircut, right? Like just got chopped and the fade, you know what I'm saying, nice and boxed up. They didn't want to see it. White dude ain't cut his hair in 3 weeks.
Yep.
Hair growing, busting out the PC, and
Yeah.
we ain't gonna say nothing to him. Yeah, you need to get your hair cut soon though. You know what I mean? So when it started with that, and then from there, like there are other like obvious like subtleties, like there's a group of we'll say group of minorities who got there before another group that was a different color. And, we're all working, we're all grinding. I would like to say we're all working around the same amount of work being put in, right? No one's sticking too far out from the others. But you give it time, you look up, all the white guys are getting promoted for the next guys, and then they're getting promoted for the next guys.
Yeah, that's weird too. How y'all do promoting is based off like not merit, but basically merit, right? Like you just like, hey, y'all, you did enough, you can go ahead and rank up.
So
because we test up until a certain point.
Yeah, it's really just point systems. As far as there's certain things that you got to do to make like points, whether that be like pass your PT test, go into the range. There are different things that determine how many points you get, right? But it's just a point system. And pretty much, just to touch on that for a second, just for anyone who doesn't know and wants to know, basically the whole thing in the Army as far as like promotions is more so a waiting game for most people versus anything else. Because like I said, the point, and I don't know the numbers now, they go up and they go down. I want to say the highest number for points is like 799, right? That's when it's maxed out. And a lot of people don't get to that. And it's based off of how many people you have in that MOS and how many people you need at the next position, right? So if you have, let's say,
like the reserves.
Let's say you have like 400 E4s, right? But you only got 50 E5s. Well, we need to promote some more E4s. The points will go down because there's too many people at the E4 level. So then you'll see a flood of people becoming E4s to E5s, right? And then the points jump back up when they feel like they've reached the amount of however many they need, which makes it borderline unattainable. Yeah. So that's pretty much how it works.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that 3 inches in bulk versus 3 inches in length was hurting a lot of people. That was hurting a lot of people.
I think a thing for us too, it's just easier to tell when our hair is bigger than it is. Like I can't put shit on mine to make it lay down.
Make it
like
appear smaller.
They can put however much product or whatever they want in there and get it to lay down.
But I feel like the issue more so, like more like
it was definitely the other shit.
You have a point with that, but it shouldn't be based to perception, right? Like it doesn't matter what it looks like if my shit meets the regs and my shit meets the regs. You see what I'm saying?
Not to give them a pass at all. Just thinking out loud.
Sure.
I ain't
That was a lot, man. I mean, the military is what we do, so I'm glad that we was able to like put some emphasis and tell some stories based on where we were as far as where this journey started, where we are now. I mean, as we have different guests come on and kind of tell their stories, there's going to be a whole lot more military talk and insight to be shared. But it is the month of February. It's 2 things that we can look forward to every year in the month of February. Black History Month is one. The Super Bowl is the other. But I want to start with Black History Month. Kaylin, what is the earliest memory you have associated with Black History Month?
Absolutely, it was Corley Elementary School where me and my brother attended elementary school in Memphis, Tennessee. Nothing sticks out specifically about what we would have did. I know we did a bunch of projects and this, that, and third. It was a black ass school, very, very, very black school. Like every year, we only had one white person in our grade, and most of the time it was a different white person. It was never the same white person except like maybe twice. And he was like one of them white dudes that only grew up around black people. So he was able to stick it out for a little bit. But
that sounds crazy. So that sounds like the opposite of everybody I come in contact with at the schoolhouse, where they're pretty much in all white environments and never cross anybody.
Well, I mean, when I got to middle school and high school, it was a lot more diverse. But when we went to school at Memphis in elementary school, one number black folks.
Right.
Only thing that sticks out that I can remember, and it's not really to do with Black History Month, but I can't remember for how long of a time period it was, but every morning they would play, I can't remember, I don't know who the artist is, but they would play that Ain't No Stopping Us Now. They would play that every single morning, the whole song, every day. Like with the morning announcements, like they would do the morning announcements and then they would play that joint and let it ride. And that's how we started off our day every single day. Like I know all the words of that joint and I probably haven't listened to it since I was like a kid.
I like that though. I think that's pretty special. I ain't gonna lie. Coop, what you got? Earliest Black History Month memory?
Sorry. I just remembered. We did Emmett Till, I think. And I got cast as one of the white dudes that beat him up.
Oh, like a play?
Yeah, we did a play, and I was one of the white dudes that killed him. Yeah.
Yeah,
now that I think about it, it's very, very problematic. But I mean, I only had black teachers, so I don't know. The heart was in a white place, I guess. I mean, for children to do at that. But I mean, that's probably what I remember we did because I definitely auditioned for Emmett Till, and I was the runner-up for that, so I got to be one of the white dudes that beat him up.
Did y'all do whiteface?
No, I wish we would have.
Okay. We probably should have. I was just curious, that's,
My bad.
Just throwing that out there. Go ahead, Coop, man. Earliest Black History Month memory.
Man, I can't even tell you I got one, man. For real, to be honest.
It's because you so damn old.
I even knew it was bro, when I realized it was even I knew it was a Black History Month, but like I never like looked into like what it was until like later on. So like for me, the earliest thing I can remember, and it's kind of associated with me too, personally. I used to watch The Proud Family all the time, and the movie came out, and it was, kind of based on George Carver. You know what I'm saying? So it was like,
watch the Carver.
You know what I'm saying? Me, I was real small as a kid, even like growing up. Like I didn't really hit like a growth spurt until I was like 16, 17. Like I was just short, skinny dude. Nothing I could really do. I played basketball and everything, but I couldn't compete.
Must be nice to hit that growth spurt.
No, but I couldn't really compete on no level because of my size. You know what I'm saying? It didn't matter what sport it was. I was just too short. I could play basketball, but niggas was bigger and they outweighed me. There's nothing I could do. So in turn, like if you look at me, people's head is the size it's gonna be, and it's only gonna get bigger, right? So my head was it's shaped a certain way that some people might think that it looked like a peanut, So
you
know what I'm saying?
That's why you want some peanut tattoos with us.
Yeah, I can't get. I mean, I could do that. I don't remember saying I didn't want to do that, but no, that was like a running nickname in the household too. It was Peanut,
Peanut.
I ain't never really told nobody that, but
I'm changing your contact name now. You're fucked up.
Yeah.
Nah, but yeah, it's Peanut. So to associate that with George Washington Carver and what he did with peanut products and just different things, that's like the first thing that really made me start even looking into Black History Month. So I would say that's my first or my earliest moment that I would say associates with Black History Month.
What you think, Khalil?
I've been trying to sit here and think about just really like the first time, I thought about Black history and was really involved in it. As far as like, taking awareness, you know what I'm saying? Like taking time to observe like what's really going on within the month. I really can't just boil down, one specific time or at what point I really just delved into it, because I mean, like Caleb said, I've always done the projects in school on the different research papers on MLK and Harriet Tubman, all the different, Black people that we've had throughout time. And I mean, really, that's what I would leave my answer up with, just the amount of research and the amount of stuff I've learned, not just from, I don't want to say the generic Black History Month, figures, but the people who you haven't heard of, not just MLK, not just Rosa Parks, George Washington Carver. There are or, Frederick Douglass. There are plenty of other people who have something to do with Black History Month. And as I've gotten older, I've taken it upon myself to do more research on more than just what anyone else would know.
I will say though, growing up in Memphis or going to school in Memphis, it was that much more important because we have the Civil Rights Museum in Memphis, and obviously that's where Martin Luther King was shot. So that was big in our childhoods as well. I can remember a few different field trips to the Civil Rights Museum and seeing what was, getting that information from the source. People traveled to Memphis specifically for the purpose of going there, and we had it right in our backyard. I can remember watching what's the damn? Is it Our Friend Martin? The animated joint where they don't go time traveling and shit. Like we watch that like every year. Like I remember watching that. But yeah, Martin Luther King was like a big, obviously for everybody, but more so for us, that much more important because he died in the city that we called home. So that was interesting.
I was actually gonna bring that movie up as my earliest memory. I feel as if that's something that everybody did. I don't know who wrote it, produced it, but they got a bag. You know what I'm saying? Because it was something I look forward to every single year. But I thought it was an interesting question. I'm trying to think, man. One thing I know for sure is that if it wasn't me attributing the work I was doing project-wise to Black History Month, anytime there was an opportunity to put Black people on the forefront, that's how I went about every school year. So I remember like in middle school, every year we had to do a project. Like I think my social studies class, like one year I did Obama and like did a crazy little like science fair board about it. I think the year before Obama, I did Lovie Smith and Tony Dungy and just the importance of Black coaches. And this is like seventh grade. So and they were in the Super Bowl, so it was a huge deal. My dad was a big Colts Tony Dungy fan. So that was like my science fair-esque project for the end of the year. How historic that moment was.
I did Lens 1 year.
Correct.
I think, we had to, I think it was for like the morning announcements or something. And they wanted us, like, we had to research a Black person to get a biography for the morning announcements. Mm-hmm. And I've always loved sports. And I was like, I didn't want to do nobody else. I was like, I was looking up like Black sports, like athletes or whatever. And I came across Lance Swan. Yeah. I was like, let's do it. For people who don't know, the Pittsburgh Steelers receiver, he got a couple of like iconic catches and shit. But yeah, so that was another one of my earlier memories. It comes back to you as you start to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. And I asked the question because my goal was to see, in general, what is the added benefit to having a month dedicated to Black history or any particular race. And the reason why I say that is I hit the group chat with this a little earlier. I'm going to share this with everybody else who will be listening to this whenever we release it. But a lot of people, I heard LeBron say it. I've heard so many people say it throughout my entire life that, Black History Month is not as important as it could be, starting first and foremost with the fact that we have the shortest month of the year as the month dedicated to us as Black people. And it got my wheels turning because something about me knew that wasn't the case. And I got to research some things. And the reason why Black History Month is in February is because Carter G. Woodson, a well-known historian, author, and journalist, chose the week in February as the start of like Black history acknowledgement because of the fact that Abraham Lincoln's birthday is February 12th and Frederick Douglass's birthday is February 14th. And at that time, though we know Abraham Lincoln didn't free the slave with pure intentions, at that time, those are two people who could be credited for a lot of the advancement and progression of Black people. So he chose 1 week in February, and then unofficially a bunch of different colleges picked up on that, and they're the ones that credited Black History Week to being a whole month long. And that went on for decades until the president picked it up in 1972. So it's not white people's fault that the Black History Month is February, but now 30, 40 years later, what is the added value of continuing that tradition, and do we take ownership the way that we should?
I think the value is where you at in the process of enlightenment and appreciation for either who you are or Black people and Black culture in general. If you're, a little bit further along in the process and understanding of what it is and who you are or who Black people are, then it probably doesn't do a lot for you. But for those people who don't, who haven't had the opportunity or, given themselves the chance to figure out what's really going on and who we are as a people, that extra attention and that extra information is useful and important. But like for me, I don't really care for it just because I'm Black history. Black history is me every day. Like I'm not to say that I research and I look things up every day, but over the years, I've gotten more and more of a appreciation and sense of pride from just being who I am and looking the way that I look. So every day is like a Black History Month day for me. But for somebody who ain't, who don't know no better or never cared to know any better, the things that they might learn are valuable.
For sure. What you got, Khalil?
So as far as I want to answer the question directly as it's asked. So can you re-ask the question?
Yeah. So 30, 40 years later, knowing a little bit more of the history and importance behind Black History Month, what is the added benefit of continuing it on, and have we taken full ownership of it as Black people?
Okay, cool. So what do I think the added benefits are? Just to kind of touch on what Caleb said, because I think he really kind of put it in a good way. For those who have never taken the time to educate themselves, or people who, so just to sum it up, people who haven't taken the time to educate themselves on the history of Black people, it provides a whole 28-day seminar, so to speak.
Just 28 days.
Yeah, just 28 days. But we'll take it. 28 days to immerse yourself. You know what I'm saying? To understand, to get some sort of a grasp, right? To say, to the point where you can't say you didn't know, right? We give you a month, so to speak, to say you can't say you didn't know.
Yeah.
To tackle the second part, do I think we are doing are we holding it up how we should? No. I don't think we are. I think, when Black History Month comes, it almost becomes like, all right, guys, it's that time of the year again. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ready? Like, it's all about us right now. And I'm with that. Like, I'm 100% with that. But my issue is, as soon as March 1st comes, it drops, right? Like, it drops. Now, not all the way. Not everyone who is, all about it I'm not saying they're no longer with it, but what I'm saying is, I wish the same emphasis that we put into Black History Month, it was done every day of every month of every year. You know what I mean? I feel it's almost like we're accepting a certain level by just taking this month. You know what I mean?
And that's why
by just taking this one. Exactly. I don't like it, and truly I don't. Like, I would rather, if it were up to me, I would get rid of Black History Month and just emphasize Black history every single month. You see what I'm saying?
So, I'm not mad at that.
Make it just regular and streamlined. It shouldn't be this niche part of what it is.
Exactly. Just one month of the year type thing, and then once it's over, we can all just act like it didn't happen because there's 11 other months.
But then I also understand why it is niche and why it does deserve.
Exactly.
Right. Because it's something that's like
push.
Like, we've allowed, and not allowed as if we've always been in the position to control it, but it was something that was started by a Black person for Black people. And over the years, it has now become and been accepted as a performative gesture by white people, and now we retaliate against it. But the pure history and reasoning behind why Black History Month is a thing is for Black people to take in arms and be proud of ourselves and be proud of what it is that we've done and taken time to acknowledge. I was asking it because did we, once you know why it's here, did we let that go at some point? Did we relinquish control of what this month is supposed to be? And that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be spread without the curriculum so much that now this month doesn't stand out the way it does, right? Because now it stands out like something that you almost want to avoid because you ain't talked about it all year. We definitely need to have, education reform. But that's what I was curious about, because it is really ours. It was made by us for us, and where we stand with it is how it'll continue on for years to come.
To sum it up, just to put a quick note on it, just Black History Month in itself, it feels like a here. and then we just said thank you instead of like, what is this? We need more, right? Like
at the point where it was a federal thing, not from the beginning, but at the point where it was like, you know, a government, like, or a national, like,
Right.
Yeah. Like I feel like, you know, like you said, like we were. It's not like we were at a position where we had the biggest say so in whether it was gonna, you know what I'm saying, be acknowledged or not. But where I feel like we're at a point now to where, like, yes, there's enough people who understand what Black History Month is. From there, like, we go forward instead of just, okay, this is our month. Like, now we need to be talking about, well, shit, let's get May 2. Let's get March 2. Let's get, you know what I mean? And whether they say yes or no or not is not the point. It's the act of wanting more and not just settling for February. Now, whatever compromise we can get out of that, we can work towards it, but you're not going to get compromised if you don't move forward.
Sure. What do you think, Coop?
I concur. I mean, y'all pretty much hit everything. Like, I was getting ready to say something, and Khalil pretty much hit it. So it was just like, dang, all right, well, yeah, I do feel like it was a, here you go. Which is like a lot of things that we are receiving now. It's like here you go. And to me, what's going to make all the change is for things to change systemically versus just like, here, take this and be happy for a few years or whatever. So in my opinion, I feel like we should be celebrated throughout the entire year. But
I'm glad you said systemically and not systematically.
Hey, depending on the day, I might have said that, bro.
You right. You right.
I lost my train of thought now, but I think it should be celebrated throughout the entire year versus just this 1 month. But I'm not saying I'm trying to give up the month either. You know what I'm saying?
Hell no.
I'll tell you that right now. This is mine. You messed up when you gave it to me. I ain't giving it back.
Hell no.
That's right. Yeah, but that goes all the way back to education too, like what they choose to teach us.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, the month of February being Black History Month, I think it does elevate the awareness for everyone. So I don't want to take that away. But what I said, drawing back to the military, there's certain things that people just don't know because of the household they grew up in and the schools they went to. So all of it goes all the way back to education.
I look at it though, I started to think like at this point, like Black History Month, like, or Black information, you only gonna get it from some sources. Like it's not like you see Black History shit on the news. So them people who don't get it or don't want it, not gonna have it. So I don't even feel like it's bringing that much like awareness at this point because we all know what month it is, but depending on where it is that you get your content, that's not gonna be what that you getting. So like we have a month, but like, and that's what any of these you know monthly holidays or this month or that month like that's dedicated to this. If that's not in your, you know what I'm saying, like if that's not what you bringing into yourself, that's not what you. I don't know what month belongs or who belongs to March, who belongs to May, April, July. I don't know who those months belong to because that is not what I'm interested in. So just like, you know, for us, we are familiar with and care about Black history, so we know what month Black History Month is. I don't know who the fuck is in May, but I bet they know and I bet they care about what is being said. So I can't say that it's actually bringing that much awareness at this point.
Yeah, and that's why I said like individual ownership of it. Like what if it never becomes this grand, overly celebrated thing? It is celebrated in Canada, England, and Australia.
They got different months when they do it.
Huh?
They got different months when they do it. I think in England they do it in like October.
I don't know. I read it. They did it in February too.
They might do it just to match America, but they definitely have like their own Black History Month. Like
they adopted it from America, but I don't doubt that they have their own thing. And it's only going to mean as much as people choose. You know, Coop was talking about what books are selected and things of that nature. I know for a fact, as of last year, out of the 50 states, 9 of them voted to get civil rights pulled out of the curriculum in general. There's like 9 states out here. I can't remember all the ones that did it, that don't teach civil rights at all. You know what I'm saying? So like,
their
you're
Black
not going
History
to
Month
get
is
that
October.
information. Is October?
Yeah.
Word. So you're not gonna get that information if somebody's not picking it for you. And I think another important thing to note, Coop mentioned it a little bit when he was talking about what he didn't want to disrespect what it was that we were able to have. I think generationally, what we asked for shifts. So I feel like we went from at one point we did want just pure acknowledgement and ability to exist without tension, friction, and judgment. And there was a period of us that wanted that. And we moved forward to civil rights. Those individuals really were fighting for equality, and they got it. I'm not going to say they got it in the best means possible, but they got what it was that they were vocalizing. Our generation is literally demanding equity. You know what I'm saying? So, like, as we look back at the accomplishments and what one generation was saying to the next, I think that's fair to evaluate as well, because it's not to say that they give us what we want when we want it. Obviously, they're in control of the pulleys and the levers, but each generation has a message that they stick to, and the products that are given are due to that. So we've gone from acknowledgement to equality, and I think now we're demanding equity because we're sitting in the same rooms with these people and still not getting the same thing. So the equality piece.
I need y'all to fix that shit y'all fucked up a few years ago, please.
Now we need equity. And so just being educated and aware and knowing what it is that we want at all times, I think will make all of the things that we get from this point going forward more impactful. We're going to wrap this up with just who's making Black history right now? Who are you going to tell your kids about? Who's standing out to you at this very moment that when you sit in your rocking chair on the stoop, this is who you're telling your grandchild about?
Stacey Abrams.
Okay.
Is that her name?
Yep.
LeBron James.
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick.
Yep. That's a big one.
I'll probably leave it there. Yeah, Stacey Abrams, LeBron, and Colin Kaepernick.
Stacey Abrams, LeBron, Colin Kaepernick. What you got, Khalil?
For sure, I'm gonna start it off with Brian. Just because as a Black athlete, as an athlete, period, he has done like far beyond what as far as the standard that has been set to an athlete, let alone a Black athlete. He has far surpassed every single standard that you can put on him. So I would say LeBron for sure. Kaepernick, just from a social justice standpoint, it really, you know what I'm saying, risking his career for something that he believed in. You know what I mean? Because it's one thing to say it, it's one thing to go to all the marches, it's another thing to lose money behind something that you believe. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So those two for sure. I mean, there are plenty of people. There are plenty of people I could name, but just to keep it short, I'm gonna put those two. If there's anything else that sticks out, I'll jump back in.
Who you got? Who you telling your grandkids about?
You guys pretty much hit the head on that. If I'm gonna add anything, it's gonna be Barack Obama.
Barack Obama. That's a big one. I was gonna say.
Imagine being able to tell our kids that we was like kids when that shit happened. Like we was like 13. That shit crazy.
Yeah, because it's important to advance those stories as we get to talking about King and Malcolm and Rosa and all the other names. That's where we stand based on what was given to us from our forefathers. But this is a responsibility we'll share going forward. I think Barack Obama for sure, but that whole family and how they were able to conduct themselves and navigate that space. Definitely Bron. I'm gonna just go ahead and
share a big dog.
You know what I'm saying? For sure. I'm gonna go ahead and make this disclaimer. This is a LeBron James advocacy podcast, and I just don't want anybody to be confused when it comes up later and it matters more.
Yeah, best to get ready because his name will come up a lot.
As long as he on my team, dog.
Yeah. So Bron for sure, Serena for sure, absolutely.
I almost said Serena. She was like my next. If I was to keep going, Serena was next.
Serena for sure. I love the fact that y'all brought up Cap because I ain't have to. And then Kamala Harris, as her story is still being written, she'll serve to be an incredibly important piece from a storytelling standpoint. We almost done though, gentlemen. Last important thing is February, and it's tomorrow night, and that's gonna be the Super Bowl.
It is tomorrow.
It is tomorrow. The Super Bowl is tomorrow. It's the 50th Super Bowl. We got Patrick Mahomes, who we could also add to the Have Black History accomplishments. We might tell our kids about him. Maybe a quarter. We'll figure it out. I know he walked like a white man.
Have you heard the boy talk?
Yeah, I'm about to say honorary mention for pigmentation. But he is on the brink of making history. And the cool thing the thing I find interesting about this is obviously we know he's going up against Tom Brady, and everybody keeps saying like this is our chance to see Jordan versus LeBron. But I really think that's what people like on ESPN is like. This is like our chance to see the GOAT versus the young GOAT. But I think people are skipping a very important moment that speaks to what this is more. I really think this is the finals that we missed of Kobe versus LeBron. The opportunity to see. Because just what do you say?
I'm with that.
No,
I am too. Just
Tom too far in his career, and he's done way more than Kobe did. And at his position.
But to me, it's like the reason why I switched it was because like LeBron versus Jordan is like a figment of our imagination. It's so far beyond possible just because of how far the years were. But like this is our chance to see that oldest GOAT versus the young person coming in. It went from Jordan to Kobe and then Kobe to Bron as far as the transfer of powers. And now we get to see that happen because we missed it.
No, because the shit that Tom doing, he didn't give a chance for anybody he didn't give a chance to transfer that power in between himself and Mahomes. It's just been him. Peyton was there. You know, that's my dog. I'm always advocating for Peyton. No, he was there, but they ain't never. But there was never no stop for Tom.
Yeah, like Tom didn't
stop. Like Jordan stopped 2003. That was it. Hard stop. Now here you go. You got Kobe, and now you got Bron. There was never a stop for Tom Brady. He's still going.
As far as the reign he's held.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's Kobe and LeBron.
Yeah. Like
there was never like another person in between that mix. Like Tom Brady is the greatest. Jordan was the greatest. That's why I can agree with that comparison.
Right. Now, I'm not saying either one is wrong. I just, Tom Brady's career is Michael Jordan-esque, but just getting a chance to see both of them meet the way we are. You know what I'm saying? Like if I could think of a perfect matchup, this is it. I wanted to see in basketball more than the
I also feel like when Bron and Kobe was supposed to go at it, both of them was closer to or in their primes. Tom Brady not in his prime.
You think Kobe was still in like his prime at that point?
For sure. He just won the MVP the year before.
Yeah, that was it 2010?
2009. Yeah, that's when they.
He definitely he was definitely in his bag.
Yeah,
the big bag, the Birkin at that.
Right.
Kobe was in the Birkin.
That's the 24, right? That's the second stint.
And that's when Bron, because I think Bron won the MVP the next year. So both of them was either at or coming up on their primes. Tom Brady is not nowhere near his prime.
He's well beyond. Metrically, he's on par, but in age and ability, he is well beyond his prime. But it's going to be an important game, too, because if Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are able to do this, then effectively, to me, that is passing the torch. As far as coaching, or as far as the transference of dominance that could be possible if the Chiefs get this done, they will be the next Patriots-esque, where you got the organization, the head coach, the star quarterback for years to come.
That's don't know
what
because
Chiefs are right now.
I disagree because New England ain't never had skilled players.
No, they have, but the Chiefs perfected what New England has.
No, but I'm saying, so they ain't never had skilled players like New England has. Therefore, they got to pay them boys. They ain't never had the best tight end in the game. They ain't never had a top 5 receiver in the game. They had a great system, and they had, Tyreek. No, I'm saying, the Chiefs. The Chiefs got the best receiver, the best tight end in the game, and one of the best receivers in the game. They're going to have to pay all them boys because the other dudes who not them are not slouches.
They not, but
they're going to have to get paid. I'm saying, what I'm saying is we got this. I need longevity after these contracts are sorted out for me to be able to say that this is the next Patriots dynasty.
I see what you're saying.
I see what you're saying, but it's close. It's close.
They're on their way. They're on their way.
On the brink of doing
we don't know how much longer Andy Reid is going to be coaching. Not to say that he should be,
He signed 3 years more this summer too.
Sure, but he old. Andy Reid been coaching since a long. I remember Andy Reid was there. Andy Reid been coaching a long time. He old.
Oh, but that's
is old.
They locked Mahomes, Reid, and Kelsey up this summer for the next. Well, obviously Mahomes for 10 years. The rest of them for the next 4. So they bet in the bank on this thing sticking around and working for a whole lot longer than just this year.
And I ain't gonna cap it. You can keep Mahomes, Kelsey and Hill.
Don't really matter. Yeah.
We have not seen the potential for this to happen in a long.
Mahomes like 25, bro.
Right.
That shit is sick.
That puts them on another level, bro. That puts them on another level. The Patriots might have been close when they had Hernandez. I think he was a bad boy, but as far as
he was a bad boy.
I'm also looking at like as coordinators start to leave, what it's going to look like. Again, I love Andy Reid, but is Andy Reid Bill Belichick? I don't think he is.
I mean, it's a lot of people who
think he has to be.
They came from Andy Reid's farmhouse. A lot of people.
Sure.
He's put a lot.
I might not be privy to that.
Yeah, he's put a lot.
Once the enemy finally gets a fucking job, what is that offense going to look like? I don't think it's going to be that much different, but
I think they're going to be straight. But who we got winning?
I got the Chiefs. You will never hear me say anything good other than what I already said about Tom Brady. I can attest that he is the greatest to ever do it, but that is about it.
You're not a real fan, but when you are lying, you choose Tom Brady.
And I'm gonna choose him again. Because under pressure, the man is capable of doing anything. I don't understand why people don't think he is able to win this championship. I mean, I understand Mahomes, their team is a very good team, but Tom Brady makes miracles happen, and I'm sure Henry, you felt that firsthand at the
Khalil. Your turn.
I'm definitely gonna go with my boy Mahomes. And I just
my homeboy.
For sure.
Wow.
And I just want to throw this out here because I really feel like people have yet to just really, you know what I'm saying, put two and two together. Like, Mahomes is not Aaron Rodgers. Mahomes is not a young Brady. Mahomes is Mahomes. Mahomes
ain't never seen nothing like
it. Like, different with a capital D, right? Like, I'm talking about first year as a starter, MVP. Second year as a starter, Super Bowl MVP, right? The trajectory is literally like through the roof.
Hall of Fame resume at 25.
That boy can hang it up today.
Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe he's, and even if I'm wrong, I know I'm in the ballpark. I think he's like 23-1 in his last 24 starts, somewhere around that number, right? Because the game
they only lost one game this year, so that'll give you 15. Well, they won their playoff game, so that'll give you 16. 16-1. They won up into the Super Bowl, so that'll give you about 3 wins right there. So
let's just say they won 3 games in the regular season before that.
You might be right.
For the sake of argument, I have to know. So I'm gonna look it up. You said Mahomes 23-1.
I want to say 23-1 is last 24.
That sounds right, because if you give him 17 from this year, and then 3 from last year, that puts you at 20 right there. So if they won the last 3-4 games of that season, that puts
While he's doing that, I'll just continue with my rant.
Yeah. Because you well on regardless. The facts don't matter.
You ain't telling me what I don't know, right? So
right.
This dude Mahomes, I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Like, genuinely never seen anything like it. Like, Aaron Rodgers was close, right? But even when I see Aaron Rodgers do like Aaron Rodgers type things, it's almost like, and when I say that, I mean like more so like the Hail Mary throws. You know what I'm saying? He's got like 3 or 4.
Oh, no. Aaron Rodgers be throwing some shit up, and I be trying to figure out how the hell it just drop where it drop. Like, on some Peyton Manning shit, but he be running at the same time.
But Mahomes do that while he running faster and throw the ball further.
I don't think he that accurate. Or he's not. No. I don't think he's as accurate as those quarterbacks. Not to take anything away from him.
Probably not, right? But when you got a receiver like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, it almost doesn't matter. Whatever the differential is, it's quickly closed when you got Travis Kelce, who doesn't miss a pass thrown to him.
Nope.
And Tyreek Hill, who has never had a ball overthrown.
I mean,
he's gonna go get
points,
that.
But then you get to the playing devil's advocate, what's he gonna do without that supporting cast? Not to say that he's not great anyway, but if you ain't throwing the Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, what you gonna do?
I mean, hopefully we don't never have to find out. I want them to keep that team together.
Even with that,
I want Deshaun to get one. Jesus
this
Christ.
is where I say the difference is because I have tremendous, maybe too much, right? If it's too much, I'll admit to it being too much. I have tremendous faith without Travis Kelce, without Tyreek Hill. If you gave him two B minus receivers and replaced them, he still could lead a team like that to a 12-4 record. Right. Because it's more Mahomes than it is anyone else. Like, I understand that Tyreek Hill has to beat the receiver, right? I understand Travis Kelce has to make the catch in traffic, right? But the throw has to be there. And Mahomes is going to make the throw every single time. Every single time. Not 30 out of 31, 31 out of 31. He is going to put that ball where it's supposed to be. I have faith in that.
Yeah. And shout out to Travis Kelce just because it's as a tight end, it's incredibly hard to find those that are equally as capable to block as they are to catch. And then he got receiver instincts that are out of this world as far as being able to find and manipulate open space.
And his girlfriend fine as a motherfucker.
You know what? I wasn't even going.
I wasn't going to go. I'll say it for y'all. Me being the single man on the podcast, I would say it for everybody.
Well, wait a minute.
I ain't never
she is
seen
fine
with your ring on. First of all. Second of all, motherfucker is fine. Shout out to Kayla Nicole. If you're seeing this,
she's probably the reason
I am jealous.
So well. Last thing I'm gonna ask y'all, as it relates to the man who needs no introduction, and I am tired of saying his name, so this will be the last time. Hopefully tomorrow goes as I need to, so we never have to talk about him again. Does Tom play another year if he wins? Does he retire if he loses?
He not retiring. I feel like he'll say before the season starts if he retiring or not.
He just took a team. He just got to.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere. His head too big.
He just got there.
He's not going nowhere. Even if he wins, he's not hanging it up.
Fuck no. Especially if he wins.
Definitely not hanging it up.
I'm gonna add to that. I'm gonna go with that one.
Word. Yeah, I'm like, listen, I'm just ready for him to get out of the league. I'm tired of watching him. Either way, that's enough from you, Coop. The show must go on. That concludes our first episode of Open Ranks. Be sure to follow us on IG, look for us on YouTube, and subscribe on any app that you listen to other people talk. We'll see you when we see you. Peace.
Appreciate you.